I'm Tim Weston from the National Gamekeepers Organisation. I'm joined today by George Davis, who's the chairman of the Game Farmers Association. We're going to have a little chat today about game farming and the topic that's on most people's lips, which is the cost of poults, poult prices, eggs and chicks. George, just firstly, can you just tell us a little bit about the Game Farmers Association itself?
Game Farmers Association was formed over 100 years ago, getting everyone together and sort of standardising good practice. More recently, in the last 20 years, we've been more involved on the legislation side and sort of fighting the threats from government. It's
been a really difficult time for most rural businesses over the last 3, even 5 years. Have game farmers been insulated from that, or what are the threats that game farmers have faced? Not at all, actually. In 2020, in the COVID lockdown year, it was quite a scary experience. You know, in March, that time of year when we're getting all our orders, talking to other game farmers, everything was going normally. Then suddenly, phone call after phone call, I've lost 70% of my orders overnight. Nobody knew what was going to happen. It was at the start of the season when you're already committed, you know, birds laying eggs, you've got your plan for your rearing field. No, it was very, very damaging. And then on top of that, we've had, you know, a bird flu as well. So yeah, it's been season after season. I've spoken to 1 or 2 game farms in particular where they've had 4 poor seasons out of 5, and it's, you know, it's tough. It's been tough, yeah. Wasn't bird flu just a French issue?
No, because of course over the years we've been very reliant on the eggs and chicks coming from France. We've had many game rearer units develop in the last 20 years that are solely supplied from these French stock. So overnight, literally, their business was switched off.
There's been a lot of media attention on the cost of living crisis in the United Kingdom. Everything's going up exponentially, and clearly game birds and game farming is not insulated from that. But can you give us a bit of an insight? Because a lot of people are saying there's a massive jump, sort of 30%.
Yeah, there has been, yeah, you're right. For some people looking from the outside in, they're questioning why, when perhaps some of the raw materials have not gone up as much as they thought. But I think what's happened is it's a product of what's happened over so many years. I mean, we've had 3 disastrous years, one after the other, and game farmers have to build in some sort of mitigation factor for that. The risks out there are so big that they need that incentive, they need that margin. And to be quite frank, over the last sort of 5 or 6 years, we've seen very static margins, very, very low margins. And you've had inflation over that time, and the costs have stayed below that. So we needed to get that back in. I mean, put it this way, when you set up your game farm, you're investing hundreds of thousands of pounds in your capital. You need a return on that. You need to have that incentive. Otherwise, why spend on it? Why make that? Because it's a very risky business anyway. So this is addressing that. The other concern in our sector is labour costs, and finding labour, you know, good quality labour in the first place. With Brexit, it's been very difficult to get foreign labour, and generally most businesses are struggling.
So George, there's a massive difference in prices, which actually I don't think is a bad thing, because it proves that each game farm is operating within their own costs. But partridge specifically seems to be the broadest scale of pricing. Why might that be?
Yeah, this is interesting. After last year, the disaster, particularly with partridge, a number of game farms wanted to try and build in some more stability for this year. So they were buying last year eggs for this year, at kind of last year's prices. So they were paying like €2 an egg, but knowing at the same time, because of hatching last year, they were only getting 50 to 60% hatch. This is really low for partridge. Normally, you'd be getting 80% or more. So suddenly, those chicks that are hatching from those eggs, they're going to be costing around £4. So as opposed to now, real time now, buying chicks, partridge chicks from France, say, at £1.50, there's the difference, or part of it.
George, thank you very much for that. That's been really interesting. We're going to leave it there. Basically, in summary, like every sector, the game farmers are seeing rising costs, rising labour costs, difficulty in finding labour, and then where people were trying to secure product for the 23-24 season, they pre-ordered it at prices that have come down. So that's the summary of, I think, what George has just told us. If you want to contact the Game Farmers Association, their contact details will be in the description of this video.